Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're joined by like legit movie star. Like normally we're fighters, we're people in the industry, but no.
He's all of the above and then some.
And then some. We're doing glitz, we're doing glamour, we're doing Louis Tan. How are you, mate? Respect.
What's up, brother? I'm well, man. I'm well. I'm excited to be here with you guys.
I mean,
Thanks so much for coming up, bro. Fucking awesome to have you, mate.
it's an absolute pleasure to have you. As we were just discussing, MK's out and like crushing records at the minute. Well,
Oh,
congratulations to both of you.
Yeah. Hey, we did it. It was worth it, man. Me and Ian, we beat the living shit out of each other.
Ain't that the true shit? Like legit because that's the thing with movies, right? It's like obviously it's choreography, it's all that sort of stuff. And I always find it weird when people like in interviews that ask us like, how long did you prepare for this role? I'm like, this is a lifelong martial artist right here. Like I fought a lot of dudes. This guy kicked me clean off my feet. Like it
Thanks, I remember that one when I saw it on the big screen. I don't know if you don't know what we're talking about, guys. The opening scene with me and Ian in the MMA cage, when he got switch kicked into oblivion. But before I did that, do you remember that it wasn't looking quite right? And I was like, hey, I gotta go for it. And I looked over at Ian. I'm like, are you good? And he was like, come on, baby. Come on, baby. I was like, all right, here we go. So thank you.
It was
sweet. I appreciate it. It's
bro.
the only time in my life that I got to kick the shit out of Ian and nothing happened to me. So I got away clean.
Bro, the second we did that take, it was like, that's the one, man. That's got to be the one.
Thank God they used it too. Sometimes you do something crazy. I'm sure like you do something crazy like that and they don't use it in the movie and you're like ah.
Is there any chance that if the numbers keep going up and up and up and a sequel does get done, dusted and signed, that you can get Steven Seagal as an on-set consultant?
Steven Seagal.
He invented the front kick, so we need him there.
I mean, come on, like,
Yeah.
we've seen on your socials that you've been hanging around with the spider, right? But let's be honest, where would the spider be without Steven?
Yeah. Well, Steven Seagal's had his influence on the martial art game, so yeah, maybe we need to put him in there and do a fatality on him.
That will do numbers.
But it'd be cool. It'd be interesting to get some real fighters in for the sequel too. I know that it'd be cool to maybe get somebody like Masvidal or Anderson Silva to have some real fighters in for the next one too. There's a lot of characters. There's so many places that you can go with the Mortal Kombat universe. What do you guys? Well, you haven't seen it yet.
I've seen enough of it, and obviously because my friend is in it, I refuse to torrent it because I'm a gentleman, right? And I will
Thank you, sir.
Exactly. I will be spending my 20 quid, bosh. But like towards the I mean, I'm 38, Ian's a solid 40 something, and that's all good,
do we need to keep mentioning that, bro?
Yes, do we need to keep mentioning until I get bored of it. Yes, right. Towards the end of the last run of MK got a little bit wild. Like the first one is just legendary, right? For all of us. All of us watched that. Like this one looks like a complete return. Like I remember seeing the first trailer when Street showed it to me. Like it was really a weird one because I'm kind of a bitch, right? And like in my head, I was just like, it's Mortal Kombat. Like I was really happy that he was in a film, but then I remembered like the Sci-Fi Channel versions,
Annihilation and stuff.
Yeah, so I was like super hyped for him to do this big stuff, and I was just like, yeah. But then I saw it, and I was like, this is actually looking pretty fucking strong.
Yeah, that trailer crushed.
That's what I'm saying. Really, really strong, and the bits I've seen look powerful, and all of the feedback's been good. Like you were saying, like it's nailed. All of the streaming 3-day numbers, yeah.
Well, yeah. So with the big monsters that came out, Godzilla and King Kong and Wonder Woman, Tenet, and the Snyder Cut. Yeah, we beat those numbers. We beat their 5-day numbers in 3 days, which is insane.
Perfect.
And that's just a testament to the Mortal Kombat fan base, you know, we just have a crazy fan base, and we did numbers at the box office too. So it was really like a 1-2 punch, because we weren't expecting to do what we did at the box office and on top of the streaming. So, you know, shout out to the Mortal Kombat fans, because they're some of the best in the world, man. I got videos of like, you know, like we crushed it in Russia. I don't know if you know about this, but we did like, we broke pre-pandemic records in Russia, pre-pandemic.
Shit.
Yeah, Russia was a mad, they went mad for it. They were sending me videos. Everybody was dressed up at the premiere. Like, it was crazy. So, you know, Privyet, and thank you guys, because that was amazing. Maybe we'll, you know, we'll bring some, I don't know, man. Who knows where we could go with the sequel? Maybe we can shoot part of it in Russia.
I mean, you got to try and get Fedor, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously.
So, you know, there's so many characters. That's the thing. It's like, I think that we were all just waiting to see, you know, kind of if people, well, I knew people were ready for it, but I think the studio was just waiting to see, you know, how people were going to respond, because it's been 20 odd years since the first one. And I think with this massive response, and so it really is like a MKU, Mortal Kombat universe. You know, it could be like a dark version of Marvel, and you know, showcase some authentic martial arts, just keep that spirit of like real authentic martial artists inside, you know.
But yeah, like exactly like you said, massive respect to the fans, because oh my god, the creativity that was coming out on like the pictures they were making, and like your Funko toy, bro, that is this man's toy. So like from the second he advertised, I tried to get one immediately. It was already fucking waitlisted. I'm like, god damn, but I got the email today that they're back in stock. So I'm like, ah, yeah.
Yeah, you need it for your collection back there.
You know it, son. You know it.
Look at that crazy collection. That's cool. Both of you guys, that's cool, man. And you got some Funkos back there too. So we gotta add the Scorpion Sub-Zero. Cool,
I've
young
got Ron Swanson. This is more my vibe. You know what I mean? Like I would very much so like a Scorpion and Sub-Zero if anyone's got any just to send to Daddy. I'm here.
Yeah, but for sure.
Are you guys? Because like the thing with Mortal Kombat is like it was always the darker one of them, and getting that out in the film. Are you both happy with the cut of it and how? Like I said, as I said, I haven't seen it yet because it only came out today, and I'm on that. That's my mission, and I apologize to both of you for that.
That's all right. That's all right.
It's okay.
It's better to have not seen it than be like, I pirated it.
Pirated
it and then posted it.
Yeah. If you guys are pirating it, man, you're not a true fan. You got to support the movement. I know it's, you know, it's a lot of money, $10-20 or whatever, but it's worth it because in the long run, it helps us make more films, you know? So
well this is it. Like ever since I heard that there's a figure involved with getting the sequel done, you know, you just click it. You don't even have to go anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we put a lot of work into it. Ian almost lost all of his toes in that.
I saw that.
We got to post that. We should post that picture when this podcast comes out. I want people to see the damage, you know, the damage that was done.
Todd, no, and like legit for people, we did that chronologically, right? And so that scene was first, and that was the only thing I had to do. This dude had to do an entire film action-packed after that, and I was like, I was walking around like, oh my god, and he's gone straight. And while we're rehearsing, I'm having to remember the choreography of one fight. Lewis is coming in, we're doing it. He's like, yeah, okay, cool. So, excuse me, one sec. He'd go in the next room, he'd have to do like fighting a forearm, then go back into another room. Yeah, okay, cool. Let's go again. I'm like, how are you remembering this shit? It was massive respect, bro.
Thanks, bro. I just went into the movie with the mentality of nothing's going to break me in this. You know, like, I think mentally you have to go into the prepared. And I think maybe like 5-6 years ago, I thought I was ready to lead like a big franchise film like this and do all the action myself. And looking back, I don't think I was ready. I think, you know, doing Wu Assassins and Into the Badlands and Deadpool and Iron Fist, like these, I was slowly building like the understanding of what it's going to take to deliver at this high level, you know? And man, and even now, like with all those years and all that experience, you know, I barely got it done because I was exhausted, man. I was dead by the end of the shoot. When we wrapped, I just fell on the floor on my face and I just couldn't get up. Just sheer exhaustion and thrill and happiness, but also like I had nothing left in the tank.
I don't blame you, bro, because that was a packed schedule too.
Yeah. And like you said, it was shot in order. So if people don't know, a lot of movies are not shot in order like that. So it is actually very helpful for me, because as my character goes through this journey and experiences these things, and he becomes, you know, sore and tired, and he's shocked, he sees Sub-Zero for the first time, all of those things were happening to me, you know, in order. So I got to really just, you know, use that for my character. It was quite helpful. And after those first few days fighting Ian, I was already like, what did I get myself into? Good.
So Lou, what is obviously that I've done a little bit of a wiki deep dive on you, and you know the list of martial arts that you're highly proficient in is ever growing, right? What was I mean, did you always want to go into acting and martial arts acting? Because, you know, obviously your dad, legendary in the #1 Batman film, like the original Batman film is the OG, right? We all love Battle, but that first Keaton Batman is crazy. And the fact that your dad was like the fight coordinator, congratulations.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks, man. So in that movie is another martial art legend called Master Sken, and my father trained with Master Sken. He's a Muay Thai instructor who is based in London, and he is one of the great Muay Thai teachers. And yeah, so that was my father's sensei. So in that scene where, you know, the dude jumps over the wall and he lands and he's about to fight Batman in the alleyway, and he whips up the swords and he's going crazy ham like that, that's Master Sken. So that's it all kind of ties together with my father's legacy as a martial artist, and his, you know, his coaches and people have been teaching me for years. And yeah, that was always the plan. It was like slowly and surely I just got sucked into understanding more about cinema and why it was so important and why it was, you know, what's unique about it. And the more I learned, the more I just fell in love with it. And then I think, you know, I always loved martial arts, and I was, you know, fighting competitively in kickboxing matches, like amateur matches, like 3-minute round smoker matches. I'm sure you're familiar with like the amateur circuits. And my coach, PD Cunningham, Sugarfoot, and Mark Parra fought out of a gym called House of Champions. And yeah, I mean, you know, it just merged at the right time. And once I kind of started to get my footing, I was like, all right, no one's looking at me for like lead roles. At the time, it was like, you know, they weren't ready to like see like an Asian dude be the lead in like these shows. So I would get my foot in the door by using my abilities, my martial art abilities, and be like, okay, well, he can play this role if he can do this. And so I was slowly just kind of like building, I guess, just showing people what I can do for quite some time, until, you know, it got really frustrating because it was like just a lack of roles for me. And it became like every freaking CSI possible, every freaking, you know, the type of gangster, type of bad guy. And I was just coming up with new ideas, because I'm like, well, I don't even need to read this fucking script. I know what it's going to be. You know, I'm this gangster, I get in a fight and get killed or whatever. And then like, I was just trying to create interesting characters using these stereotypical characters. Like, for instance, I'd be like, this character, I'm going to give him a limp. This character, you know, I'm going to do something with my voice. This character, I'm going to do with like my body language is different. So I was just like experimenting until someone was going to give me a shot, you know, to step outside the box. And yeah, it took a long time, but you know, it is what it is. You got to pay your dues. So
makes it all the sweeter when it happens.
Yeah. Exactly, man. Yeah. And it's that fight mentality that, you know, you guys know, like that spirit that you have when you're a fighter, it translated into my work, because I wasn't about to quit. Like, I was never going to quit, no matter how broke I was, no matter, you know, if I had to borrow money from my parents, like, you know, as much pride that hurt my pride, it was kind of like, I'm never going to quit. I'm going to make a difference here and try to do something that I didn't see other people do before when I was growing up. You know, I'm like, and I think that's that fighting spirit, you know, that
keep your eye on the prize, man.
That's what I was going to say. Like, you know, like a lot of actors who, you know, aren't even getting the CSIs and all of that stuff. Like they would look at that like, you're crazy, you're living it, you're doing exactly what I want. And like that fighting spirit you're talking about is what's pushing you
That
now
drive to keep going,
go further and further and further, because it's never enough. But what is enough, Lou? What's going to be enough?
Well, you know, I guess it's less of like what's enough and more of a sense of like just being able to create and tell, you know, original stories. That is enough for me in it essentially. Yeah. If I look back and I go, hold on, pump the brakes. Yeah, look, I'm grateful and I'm blessed for everything that I have. And even when I was doing, you know, other projects that weren't as big, like you're saying, it's just there, you know, I always sat there and was like, I'm grateful that I at least have this, of course, but it's kind of like, you know, you just want to be able to have a unique voice and be able to share that voice in the art form that we all work in. But then that art form is being controlled by a lot of people that don't see it the same way as you.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like in terms of diversity and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like that, I couldn't possibly comment as a white male who's very Viking-esque. Like I just can't, you know, like what troubles have you had? Or has it just been limiting, you know, as the roles literally, like you said, been like triad, Yakuza, you know, insert any nationality, gangster of some sort?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like that type of vibe. Yeah, exactly what you said is what it was for quite some time. And look, I don't think that Hollywood is inherently racist or anything. I just think that the art form, that business started a certain way. It started with a group of people that, you know, and they started to make movies about what they see. And at the time, they, you know, they're not seeing people like me, and that's okay, because I'm, you know, but as the culture grows and as we get to experience a broader perspective, that perspective should also be shown throughout the lens of the cinema, because cinema is a view into other people's lives, and that's what creates a unity between us. You know what I mean? Like I might not know what certain guy goes through, you know, that lives in, you know, South America in this village, but if I watch a movie about it, I can put myself in those shoes, and I can have empathy for this person, and that creates a broader sense of unity. And that's why it's important, you know, and that's why it's important to me. And that's Mortal Kombat. I mean, it's literally a group of a bunch of crazy people from Earth who are trying to come together and unite for one cause, which is to defend our home, you know, from so essentially I think that it's a beautiful story like that, and it's a very timely story to tell.
So, and also too, sorry, just touching on that, when this was filmed, it's like the world fell apart after that. So, you know, all the sort of like social things that have been happening and all that sort of stuff, this was done before. So the choice of characters was done before it was like the hot topic, which I think is massive. You know, it was always the plan to bring that diversity in, which is fantastic, because I mean, like, I mean, I'm just going to say it. Hollywood started inherently racist. Like, you know, they would, you know, put, and it's great now that it has to be reflected, because this is what gives you, people bring their stories. And then, like you said, you see something like, oh my God, I didn't know this happened. And it's so good for, like, literally that picture you put up. I remember when I was a kid, I saw a picture of Jordan looking up at the Barcelona Olympics. He's across the world, and there's a picture of him on the billboard. And you've got that, bro. And at a time where, tragically, Asian people are getting abused on the streets, but you've got this almost both sides of the spectrum. It's such a, like you said, it's a timely time for it. But also, don't get it twisted. It's not like, oh, well, you got the role because of the Asian hair. That's not it at all.
No. I think it was just it was something that was forming, and it was just the right time, and it was a synchronistic thing that happened. But yeah, I remember looking at that poster and then like reading the news about like these crazy hate crimes, and it was a really I don't even know how to describe it in words, because it was a very strange feeling, a very strange dichotomy to have that image of an Asian dude on, in this big, huge building, and then see what's happening in the culture. It was
how mind blowing is it though, seeing the billboard with yourself on it? That must
it was
just
crazy. It was crazy. Like, it's, and I hate to, to keep bringing it back to this, and we can talk about something else after, but it's like, I didn't see that growing up. I never saw that. People could argue that Bruce Lee was out there, but even Bruce Lee had to go back to Asia before they gave him a shot.
Also, bro, like, someone tried this shit on your social and it pissed me off. I'm like, if you're having to go back to the 60s, that, or like you said, that aside, he had to go back. But if you have to go, they're like, oh, there's been Asian sites. Like, you can name like 3 and you're having to go through decades.
I remember,
that shows.
I remember some guy was like, what is he talking about? There's Bruce Lee and there's Jackie Chan. I'm like, bro, that's not enough. Like, geez, man, like, we still talking about him.
It goes in fads as well, right? Like, Hollywood, it is, I don't want to speak for your industry, but like as a fan, it's like cycles, and they go all in, and before you know it, you got like the end of the cycle is Jackie Chan and Luke Wilson doing some what was it, Shanghai Nights or whatever it was. But that come from like Police Story made it to the West, and everyone's like, this is fucking epic.
Yeah. How could we do this?
But do you remember, like, before that wave came over, where you had like Once Upon a Time in China, you had all of the Jet Li ones, you had all the Donnie Yen coming over and all of that stuff. You had this like sort of weird in between phase where there was like Showdown in Little Tokyo, where you had Dolph Lundgren, Brandon Lee as like the buddy cop, and they were going against the Asian villains, like, and there was a bunch of that sort of film. And then it went down the other route, and then it kind of, like you said, vanished. Come back a little bit with Rush Hour, vanished again, and now it's come back, but it's come back in a much more positive way now. Which is good.
That's right, man. It is good. It is good, and you got to look at the good with the bad too. I think for so long we were so we're just fighting and we're just frustrated, but you got to take it with the good as well. Yeah, man, it's making huge moves. Not just with the studio, but with executives. And, like, look at people like Todd Garner. Like you said, this was made before this was like a cool decision. Todd Garner and Simon and Warner Brothers and New Line, the guys at New Line, they were like, this is not getting made unless this happens. Unless this is authentically casted, unless it's R, and unless we got real martial artists, we're not making the movie. And like, that's amazing.
Epic.
And, and those are all white guys.
But there's been a switch as well for the authentic, right? The reason that podcasts are so popular now is that obviously you get the highly produced, highly limited ones, but then like the biggest one in the game, he's literally smoking, drinking with his pals, talking about anything he wants to talk about, uncensored, right? And that bleeds into everything. Like, I don't want to see. Right, I have 2 little girls, okay? Now, there's a lot of Taylor Swift, a lot of Ariana Grande going on in this household. And there's always action scenes in their music videos. And it's not the kids that
like it, it's his movie.
No, it's me. I'm cray-cray for Tay-Tay, and that's fact. But, like, there's a lot of action bits to their videos now, and it's just like, could you have at least tried to learn to do anything? Like, it's just like you turn up day one, like it's just such a boner killer. Like, you just want to see people who know what they're doing actually doing it. Doesn't even matter if they're good actors, as long as they're doing what they're supposed to do, I'm in.
Could you imagine like Taylor Swift coming up to her music video director, and she's got her iPad and she's got like a video of the raid, and she's like, so I just kind of I kind of want to do something like this, and the director just yeah, we can.
hey Lou, that music video, my friend, is called Bad Blood.
Is it?
That exists. There's definitely some inspirations going on there, and let me just tell you, you can't watch it that many times.
I don't watch that.
You don't need to. It's not for you. But like the authentic is what people want now, and it's good that the studios are recognizing it. And it's, I mean, even if it's a case that it's just the new thing that they attach to for quite a while.
Yeah.
Fucking just go all in.
Yeah.
It'll
So when
change.
Strong start in the film, like they're like Joe speaking his own, you know, where they don't understand each other, and so now that's wicked, you know.
I got a question for you, Ian. So, you know, you're someone that's fought competitively in the ring. And this is truthfully, you know, I really want to know, how do you compare the experience fighting in an like the opening fight that we did, right?
Yep.
Obviously, I know it's different, but endurance wise, and you know, the energy that you had to put into doing that fight scene compared to a fight. I just want to hear you talk about that.
Do you know what? And this is what's super interesting, because it is, you fight, right? And it's obviously, it depends on the rule set and things like that. You'll get smashed up, but you get smashed up for a certain amount of time. We were literally in there from first thing in the morning till last thing at night. And it's very, like, I'm not going to, obviously a fight, the impact and all that sort of stuff. And you take yourself to a place you don't know is there. But that happens with this, like, the amount of respect I got from that was insane, because exactly like I said, it's all day. In a fight, you're done in less than, like, maximum, you're there 40 minutes, right? Maximum. And yeah, you've been smashed to pieces. But it's a different sort of thing. Saying mentally switched on, that fatigue is real. And your body just, because also too, hitting something is very different to that pulling motion. It does your body in a completely different way. So they're so different. But oh my God, man, I'm not joking. Like, I could barely walk at the end of that. And that's where you can be lucky in a boxing fight. Sometimes you can walk away and be like, you know what, that went all right. A tie, not so much. You always limp out of that thing. But that, I was like, Jesus Christ, man, I don't know how he's going on to this next fight scene. I need an ice bath and a nap.
You're right. The funny story about that is, afterwards, we have this little scene together in the locker room, and we have this little chat. And I saw Ian, like, he was like limping a little bit away, like he was, like his foot was injured. And after the scene, I was like, hey, man, that's a cool little character choice. I like that you kept that going. Like, that's interesting, you know? And he's like, nah, man, my fucking foot hurts.
So when you two are doing the scenes, is it kind of like you're, you know, like when you're doing contact drills, just to learn the movement pattern over and over, and then, you know, it just speeds up and up and up and up and up until they get a perfect taste. Like when we're doing pad work sequences.
Yeah.
Like a tap through, then a very intense tap through.
Yeah, like, because you got to rehearse it, right? So you know the choreography and stuff, and then there'll always be a case where it's like, let's do it. So it's like, imagine a pad. It's like doing pads with Floyd Senior. Bless him, I love you, Floyd, but his memory is not the most amazing thing in the world. So if he takes the time to explain the pad sequence, you're not doing that pad sequence because he forgot what he told you, and you better just adapt, because it like, do it. And he will say, but I told you to do that. It's like, well, you didn't, but okay. With the choreography, we'll rehearse, but sometimes you get there and be like, actually, we need it to be this. So you need to have that flexibility to change on the fly. Unlearn what you've
on top of that, do you remember when Jax is walking through the audience? They're shooting Jax. So me and Ian are still there, and we're still fighting, but they're shooting Jax. So in the background, we can't just be waving our hands around. Like we gotta be going at it, and we gotta be going hard. So when you cut to the scene, the intensity is still there. And we're like, well, we can't repeat the choreography. So what are we gonna do? And they're just like, can you guys just like spar and move around a little bit? And we were like,
oh yeah, why not? Yeah, all good.
Well, I wasn't, thrilled about that idea, because that's where you can get hurt. But thankfully, I'm working with someone like Ian, who's a professional. So if I was working with, let's say, an actor, like, let's say that they just hired an actor who has no fight experience. And the director goes,
name a name,
hey,
name a name.
You guys already know the names. I got a long list of names. So let's just say
let's go back to Tay-Tay.
Yeah, let's say they hired Taylor Swift, right? And like, me and Taylor Swift are fighting. And they're like, so you guys need to improv for the next few minutes while we film over the shoulder of this other actor. That's where you can get injured, and because it's a Wild West now. You don't have the choreography. You don't know what this person's going to do, and those shots that you see me and Ian in the background, fighting. That's just me and him just sparring and just go, just having a little, just moving around and throwing strikes. And yeah,
it's risky.
It is.
Honestly, experience of my life. Thank you so much for that, man. Because
dude, had so much fun. What was your opinion about the film? Did you like the way that it came out? Because we had another round that didn't make the final cut. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do indeed.
Why didn't that make the cut?
I think it's just timing, issues. Right. They wanted to keep it at a certain pace, a certain rhythm, and I think there's some cool moves in that scene. Hopefully, they do it in the extended cut for a DVD or Blu-ray.
That's what I was going to say. To me, it moves. Do you know what I mean? It is action packed, and the best thing is I think it was a smart move what they did, because the MK fans are like, I could have watched another hour of that. And that's what you want. You don't want people sitting down for let's say straight away the Snyder Cut came out and it's a 4-hour film. You'll lose all the people that weren't really there. They'll be like, that thing went forever. But what the feedback is, people have seen it and they're like, I want more of that shit. And the best thing is there's more of it out there. It can be an extended cut. And
is that shit really 4 hours?
Snyder Cut, yeah.
Actual 4 hours.
Actual 4 hours. It's was it Irishman?
Of Justice League.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our film could have been 4 hours if they, you know what I mean? There's enough footage there.
Yeah.
They could have made it 4 hours.
Yeah, but 4 hours is 4 hours is 4 hours is too much.
Yes. Yes.
Two were in a good spot.
Well, I like the Snyder Cut. I think that the Snyder Cut was very well done and very tasteful. But yeah, I don't think that all movies should be 4 hours long. I think that's too much. But look, with Mortal Kombat, there's so many characters in that film that there was times that to me it was I wanted to see more of these characters and more backstory. And I think that we can dive into that in the sequel. We can dive into it in in maybe a spin-off series on HBO Max, and then bring it into the sequel. There's many things you can do with but there's so many cool characters that you kind of want to take your time with it. But you're right, Ian. It's like a roller coaster ride. As soon as you sit in that thing, that movie's you're off to the races, which is cool. It's different.
And that's what you want, because people are like, oh, I would like to see more of this, more. And it's that's what this does. It sets up all these avenues. Like you said, there's so many characters, there's so many ways you can go. And now there's almost a platform for it where all these shows have the TV shows, then the spin-off movies and all that. And MK is built for that.
Yeah.
I tell you what MK is built for is secret cinema. I can't wait for that shit to come back.
Oh, I heard about that secret cinema in London. That thing is cool, man.
Yeah.
What would the secret cinema be like for MK?
I mean, well, at Westfield, Stratford. But no, the Bond one, you go out to some fucking warehouse in the middle of nowhere, and you got people coming down from the ceiling and stuff. You're like, are we watching a film or they did Back to the Future, and they built the whole theme park of Back to the Future 1.
No shit.
You're like, what's going on here? There was an office that I worked at was near the Blade Runner one, and you had all of these people in see-through trench coats just walking past. You're like, oh.
Hey, if the secret cinema people are listening, these are good ideas, and me and Ian will be a part of it.
Yeah, right? We're down for it. We're down for it.
Don't come in. I want my slice.
Yeah. Me, Ian, and Rob, we're gonna go
that's
crazy.
More like it. We've got to secure the bag, brother.
Round 3 with
there you go. There you go.
There you go. From the choreography perspective, obviously that has to be heavily choreographed. But how much improvisation is there in the scenes? How because obviously it's a simulated cage fight, right?
It is, and it's a hard one to do, because I think me and you talked about this, Ian, when we were we want people like Rogan to be legit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's when you put me in, the crucifix or or the armbar technique, we wanted all the little details to be correct. So It was meticulously thought of, and I heard that Michael Bisping was on his podcast yesterday, I think, and he was ranting and raving about it. So that's really good. Yeah, and then Anderson Silva said it was amazing. My boy Masvidal sent me a message and said it was, that he really enjoyed it. So to get MMA fighters, real fighters, to say that they liked it and they thought it was authentic, I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah,
I'm very.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. And massive shout out to our boys Chan, Anthony, Sifonino. Like, what a team it was out there, bro.
Yeah, those guys are really incredible. They came up, speaking of choreography, they came up with so much amazing choreography. And, again, not all of it got to make the final cut because of timing reasons, but those guys came up with some really insane choreography. And hats off to them because they did so many different styles too, and so many different characters and special moves. And I mean, those guys really have no ego, and they have all the talent in the world. It's amazing. It's an honor to work with them.
And even the little things, that video came out yesterday with Scorpion's spear and how he learned, like you look at frame by frame, and the first time, like it just cuts the face, and the second time he's learned from it. Little things like that, the gems, the cutting, freezing, and man.
But then you see, like, when you look at, to answer your question about the improvisation and stuff, if you look at, let's take like Joe Taslim, for example, right? Incredible judo guy, Olympic judo guy, legitimate martial artist. But look at the way he moves when that shot happens, when the spear comes and he grabs it and he pulls it over his head and he does this kind of thing with his body like a snake. And then when he's in the ring and he's fighting with Hanzo, spoiler alert if anyone's listening, the way that he moves his body like a wild animal, like he lands on the floor and he's injured and he looks up like he's this kind of like a panther who's been put in the corner, and he's stripping off his stuff, and he's like, he just has such a visceral physicality, and that's completely Joe. That's just what Joe's bringing to the table here. And I think, it's good to just note that, because a lot of people don't understand, that type of performance is acting. He's acting. Like, that's the physicality and the emotion is so deep there. And in my favorite scene in the entire movie is that last scene, when he takes his mask off. And I'm not going to say what he says because I can't do it justice. But when he takes his mask off and he puts it on the floor and he has that moment and he says those lines, that's my favorite part of the whole movie, without a question. And after I watched it live, and I came up to Joe and I was like, yeah, that was the performance that I've been waiting to see. And, really, really incredible.
Are you a huge, I know I always see you flash up on the ticker on UFCs, but are you a complete combat sports across the war, like across the scale fan? Or is it just like MMA is your number one, then the rest are side pieces?
Yeah, to be fair, I'm kind of more involved in MMA, UFC. I do watch boxing and I do watch Muay Thai, and I don't really watch too many jiu-jitsu competitions or anything. I mean, I'm obsessed with fighting, and I'll watch it, but I would say that, I kind of stay more geared towards UFC, but not in a casual way. I'm obsessed with it.
Are you going to watch the boxing this weekend?
Yeah. Well, I'm also going to watch, Anderson Silva's fighting soon. He's boxing. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, it's a very hard one to say.
I'd love to know. I just trained with him a couple of days ago.
Listen, Anderson isn't the one that makes you go like this in that particular event, because Chavez Jr. is like, what do you say about the geezer? Like, yes, at one point he was legit world champion, and then it's really hard with him, right?
We never always,
you try not to be disrespectful, is what
exactly,
it is, right?
Here, especially the thing we hate is where people are like ragging on fight. We never do that. Chavez Jr. though,
it's a hard one.
The thing with him is having a dad that is so legendary makes it even harder. But when you have because he had the skill. He started up, like he's legit. But when you're getting a trainer like Freddie Roach, when you don't even make your way to the gym, when you're getting him to come to your house, it's like you're already cutting corners. And then when your fights are showing that, it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, if you're not in this, stay out. And then when you start losing fights to people you shouldn't, you're just like, it's because you don't care. Like, why are you doing it if you don't care? So that's why you see normally if a fighter, like when Conor fought Floyd, for example, it's like, you're in a boxing ring, like, you ain't beating Floyd. Like, same thing. He knows if he goes in that cage, it's done. But he ain't going to do that. So with Anderson, people might think, oh, but he's an MMA guy that's going into boxing rings. Like, he's Anderson Silva, and he's fighting like Chavez. Like, that could be. Anderson is going to do some work, I think.
I think Anderson. I think Anderson fucks him up, to be honest. Because Anderson's he's a big dude, right?
He's like a big dude, man. He is big. And you know what I found really interesting about Anderson? Obviously I'm biased because we're friends, but I saw his work ethic when I was there, and we had a videographer come, and they were going to do like a video between me and him. But he was like, hey, you're here to train, right? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I wasn't like, in my head, I wasn't sure if I was going to be like shooting a video and then just like leaving. But when he was like, you're here to train, I'm like, yes, sir, let's train. And I just put, like, I was like full train mode, and he didn't talk to me very much until the end of the training session. And I just thought, oh yeah, he's training for a fight.
He's got a fight.
He didn't call me
he's not here for the gram
to get promotion. He called me here because we're friends, and he's training. I mean, he went hard for hours and did not stop. And I was like, I was not about to throw up in Anderson's gym, but I was like, I was hitting my limit, and he was over here. He was over here with the freaking what's it called? The
altitude mask.
Yeah, the altitude mask on, and I was like, that's crazy. So all I know is this: he's preparing, and he's preparing to win. He's got a great team of coaches, and he looked good, man. He looked good.
Yeah, I can't honestly imagine someone like Chavez Jr. looking at Anderson as anything other than a cage fighter. He's crazy enough to probably look at Anderson as like a Ben Askren-esque thing. I'm a proper boxer. He's not a proper boxer. I'm gonna roll him, and Anderson's
the wrong guy. Anderson, to do that
100%. Right, that guy.
Even the way he fights in the cage, he kind of has that really interesting style with his hands down. The way he moves, he's so elusive. And yes, of course, he's known for his kicks and his creativity. But really, you see him kind of like, he does a lot of like very interesting movements with his hands, and he's very elusive and hard to hit. I don't know. I think he's gonna put up a good fight, man.
Listen, it was interesting before Roy was probably aged out. There's been talk for years of them potentially fighting each other, and at that time, people were like, "Oh shit, that would be an interesting fight." That's how good Anderson is when you're putting him with like an interesting fight with Roy. And no disrespect to Chavez Jr., but kind of, he ain't Roy. And obviously times have changed and things like that. Everyone ages, but Anderson's the business. And really, the injury that he suffered, how he kept fighting high-level MMA is insane. Like when you snap your leg in half, he doesn't have to worry about that at all. And it's not like he doesn't have hands. Even when he was fighting in the cage, his hands are lethal.
Hands.
Yeah, and he has exactly what you were saying about, Chavez, and I don't know the gentleman too well, and I'm not trying to disrespect him either, but what you were saying about how Freddie Roach is coming to his house and stuff, Anderson's the opposite of that energy. He is like a fighter. He has that fighting spirit.
He's a samurai.
He's a samurai. He has not, taken the easy road, and he still hasn't taken the easy road when he is one of the GOATs, and I think it's
for
like,
sure,
he still has that kind of like that grit. And I love that. I love to see that. I would love to be around that when I was a kid, and to see like my dad and his, guys like, Benny the Jet, Iquides, and like guys. I grew up around them, and it's like, they have a different level of mental toughness, and I've always respected that.
For sure.
What people to grow up around, bro. Jesus
I know, right?
Christ.
I grew up around a gentleman named Glenn Button, who was my dad's work colleague, and he had a very colourful nickname, which was, I'm not going to repeat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, he wasn't Benny the Jet. Let me just tell you that. He had ferrets, if that helps.
Yeah.
No, this is
Speaking of martial art legends, Guru Dan and Santo came down to the set. I don't think you were there on that day, right?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, Guru Dan came down. So Nino Pilla, who trained us while we were doing Mortal Kombat, Nino was like teaching me a Wing Chun dummy. I learned like the first 9. Me and Joe had a competition to see who could
learn
the first 10 forms. And I didn't. I was working more than Joe, so he learned the forms before me. But I got 9 out of 10 now. But anyway, Guru Dan and Santo, who for people that don't know, you should know already. But if you don't, he's like one of Bruce Lee's proteges, and he actually introduced Bruce Lee to nunchucks. And Guru Dan is just, he's a martial art legend. So anyway, he came down and he got to watch me and Joe fight. And he didn't stay too long. He's a little older now, but he sat down and watched us for about 2 hours. And then we went outside, took a picture together, and, he just said, good job, kid. And that was it. I was like, yes. That was cool. Yeah.
Another one added to the list.
Yeah.
The legend lineup, man. Shit.
Dude, I've been so fortunate to be around these guys, they inspire me. And, that is what helps me also keep going and to perform. Is like, I know that this legacy is behind me, and these guys that built the foundation of all these things that I love, they're watching over me, and they're watching me in real life. And they're also watching me, the ones that have passed away. I feel like their energy is there, and I feel that energy, and it helps me keep going, bro.
Legit, like that grit you were saying in the fighters, that's what's so good with you as well, because you got that, you know what I mean? Like your trajectory, like, and we'll discuss your career getting to there, but it's doing this. And whereas some people might be like, mic drop, fucking made it, done. I could not believe you've gone to another action-packed film, Fistful of Vengeance. Straight after that, you got Quantum Spiker. It's just like, you do not stop.
Yeah.
Props, bro. Props.
Yeah. Well, I'm obsessed, and maybe to a fault, but I'm obsessed, and it's what I love to do. And I got to go to Thailand after that and do Fistful of Vengeance, which is like a follow-up to Wu Assassins, but a whole nother level. I got to train with Bukhout's trainer.
Oh shit!
So, dude, I was training. You would have loved it, bro. I was there 6 hours a day, 6 days a week for 3 weeks.
You're in heaven, bro. That's heaven.
I was seriously
and being paid for it handsomely.
Yeah. And during a pandemic where I couldn't even get to a gym.
Yeah.
I was like, it was literally like a gift from God. It was crazy. And I was there, and like we were supposed to be learning choreography, but I would just be like, Cruz at the end, can we do some Muay Thai? And he'd be like, come on. And like, he would just take me in the corner, and he would train me for a few hours, and like everybody else is learning choreo, and I'm just learning Muay Thai. Yeah, it was good.
Love it, bro. Love it.
I was stuck at home doing homeschooling. just on Zoom, if that
living
helps.
Living the dream.
There was no gyms open out there, huh?
No,
it was brutes over here, bro. It was brutal.
Is it still closed?
No, you can go to the gym, but you can't do classes.
Some of these rules, man.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a rule for a little while here during the end of the first lockdown, which was swimming pools opened again, but you weren't allowed to do backstroke and you weren't allowed to do butterfly.
Yeah.
Yo, it's a tricky virus, man. That virus will get you.
Now, for me, I love nothing more than to have like the MPs and the rulers of this nation sitting around in an office going, swimming pools. Okay. Really worried about backstroke. Yeah, I know. I've been thinking that. What about butterfly? It's pretty messy, no? Yeah, we can't allow those. Front crawl? Okay. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. How many people in the pool? Doesn't matter. Like,
yeah.
Well, also like some of the rules that we had to do when we were filming this movie, and they did a great job because no one got coronavirus, but some of the rules were pretty ridiculous. So we would train with masks on, and I do this big fight scene with like 20 guys, and we're training with the mask on, and we're there for like hours in the humidity, and no one's allowed to take the mask off. And then a few hours later, we're shooting, and we're doing the exact same scene with no masks, and we fight. And obviously, when you're fighting, it's you're spitting all over somebody, you're grabbing, you're fighting, you're fighting. And we do that for a few hours, and then someone will come in and be like, okay, social distance, please, and break up. It's like,
come on, guy.
I mean, look, I get it to an extent that you're trying to limit the amount of time you're exposed. But when you're fighting with dudes, imagine, you know what I mean? Like, I just had this guy sweat like all over my freaking face. Like, if he had coronavirus, it's probably on.
Yeah, I got it already. We're good.
He's been grunting in my mouth on camera for 15 minutes. Like,
yeah, right. And
do we really need to put the masks back on?
Right. And we were tested every 2 days, every single 2 days, without a question. You're tested. You got the temperature checks when you walk on set, and it's just a different energy. And it's not, I'm grateful that we get to at least film during the time, but it was hard. It was hard to follow all these different rules while you're filming. It was tricky. It was tricky, man.
Who were your main inspirations? Like, if you could name the top 3, not including Bruce, because obviously everyone says Bruce, don't they? I might even take Bruce and Jackie away,
Yeah. My inspirations, I am inspired. I like Marlon Brando.
Okay.
Marlon Brando inspired me.
He's a very handsome man.
I like the way that he was rebelling against the rules at the time, and kind of created his own style of acting that nobody really, they were like, what the hell, this guy's mumbling, what's his deal? And he just had a sensitivity and a masculinity that I thought was really cool. It was a nice balance, of,
and super crazy, which I like. I like that a lot. Like completely away.
Yeah.
For all of it, and then it only got worse as he got older, which I'm completely 100% for.
Hey man, you gotta dare to be great.
You gotta do it. Exactly. No one wants normal.
No, well, especially when you're acting, it's such a crazy job. What we do, pretending to be other people. I like Tom Cruise in a way that I respect Tom Cruise a lot. I think he knows a lot about cinema and filmmaking, and I've heard, I never got to work with him yet, but I've heard that he's a gentleman on set, and he's very professional, and I like that he's jumping out of freaking helicopters, and he's freaking doing, he's riding his motorcycle in oncoming traffic, and it's like, it's real. He might not do his own fight work, but his stunts are pretty phenomenal. I don't think there's very few people that was like, yeah, put the camera on this helicopter and I'll just go fly it over there across the in his 50s, yeah, jumping over roofs and not to mention, I think he's a very talented performer, especially if you look at roles like Magnolia, just very Vanilla Sky, stuff like that. Yeah, I think he's a really underrated actor. Even he's a movie star in a way that I look at his career and I look at his trajectory, and I find that very inspiring. And let me think, one more, only one. I will go with Benicio Del Toro.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice pick.
Yeah, I think Benicio Del Toro is a choice because he makes really unique character choices, and he's always so interesting and so eccentric, and I like that. Whenever I watch him, I never know what I'm going to see. You know what I mean? I think
he portrays conflict so well, like internal conflict. He just gets that.
Man. You watch him in like Sicario, and you just see like just everything going on behind his eyes, and he doesn't even have to say much, and he's just like so menacing. Yeah, I think he's a real special actor. So
I
that
always
that would
kind
be
of get
my
him mixed up with the geezer from No Country for Old Men.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah,
Oh,
I always
yeah.
get, for some reason, I always get them mixed up in my mind.
Another genius actor. But yes, I think that, yeah, Benicio always had something very unique about him that I thought was really cool. So I'm to be honest with you, I'm inspired by a lot of different people, a lot. And so, you know, those are three that just off the top of my head that are probably in the top 20, but I got a pretty big list of people.
And bro, like, what an eclectic list for a start. And
I know,
second,
right?
like, I feel so uni-layered. Like, if you ask me my inspirations, you know it's going to be fight related. But you, like, your photography is sick. You make movies yourself. You got an eye for every element of it. It's like, is there anything this dude doesn't do? Like,
well, like I said, I'm obsessed with the art form, maybe even to a fault, because it's all I think about. It's all I do. You know, I mean, I was up till 4 a.m. last night writing for this pitch that we're doing for a different project. Like, you know, it's just I think once you catch the bug, it's nonstop, man. It's not.
Yeah.
It's like how you are with fighting. You just, and that's why it becomes something like second nature, and you just love it. You know what I mean?
amazing, bro.
Yeah. Well, who are your inspirations? Go on. I want to hear them.
What I think what I want to do right now though is I want to pitch a reboot of Best of the Best. Do you remember Best of the Best?
Yeah, of course.
We got to do it. Come on.
That would be cool. Even
Hmm.
Showdown in Little Tokyo, like you mentioned, would be kind of cool.
Can you get away with that now though?
I think you can if you changed, you know, the way it was written. Yeah.
But like you would be the obvious choice for Brandon's role. Now you would surely feel uncomfortable jumping into that job, no?
What, because of Brandon?
Yeah, rest in power.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I wouldn't want to take away from anything that he's done, but you know, I'm not gonna shy away from any role for any reason. You know, I'm just trying to create my own legacy, and that's with respect to them. But yeah, my father was in that movie too. You know, I think yeah. Watch it again.
He's in everything, bro.
He's in everything, but yeah, I think, you know, more importantly than remaking, you know, Best of the Best or Showdown in Little Tokyo is like creating original new stories. That's where I'm aiming for, and that's where I'm heading now. Is like, what is the new thing? Like you're saying, we don't want another Bruce Lee. I'm not trying to be another Bruce Lee. Not even. I'm not trying to be anything close to that. I'm trying to be just myself, and that's.
And also, again, something that deserves massive respect in something with such a firmly embedded fan base of characters. You brought to life an entirely new character and smashed it. The pressure of that, bro, like insane. And
I thought about it the other day because, you know, after the film came out, I thought I had a moment where I've been going nonstop, and I had a moment where like I had my first day off in like 4 or 5 months last Sunday. Yeah. And I went to an isolation tank, and I sat in the isolation tank, and I just had like a nice peaceful float. And then I thought to myself, damn, what were you thinking, man? Like, I was like, what were you thinking? I was like, what were you thinking? Like, there's so many cool characters in Mortal Kombat, and you were like, yeah, all right, I'm going to do this new character. And I thought about it, and I was like, I want the challenge. It's a challenge. It's like it's a challenging thing. It's an opportunity. Whereas, you know, 10 years ago, that lead character would have been a white guy for sure.
Yeah.
And they would have sprinkled him around with different Asian dudes, you know, if they were gonna go this route. And so I was like, this is just a chance. And that's really why I did it, as it's a challenge, you know, and I'm crazy. So that's why.
How was it getting that call? How did that feel? Just being like, this is happening. Like, because there'd previously been some that were so close, right? And it didn't quite eventuate for like we said, the trajectory has been going like this. How did it feel knowing like this is it?
It felt good in the sense that the timing was pretty crucial to the, you know, here's the thing. So your instincts as an actor are the most important thing that you can train. Your instinctual response, that little voice in your head, or if you want to say like listening to your heart, or however you want to put it on a Hallmark card, that is real. That instinct is real, and that's the thing that you need to hold on to and never let people destroy or take away from you. And instinctually, I knew that I was on the break of something, and because I kept losing a bunch of jobs and everything looked like it was crashing down. And that's when I knew instinctually I'm close. Like my current circumstances were horrible, but I was like, and by horrible, I mean, I'm just losing a lot of work, but I was like, I was on the precipice of something and I could feel it. And I was putting every single bit of my energy into it. And then, when I lost this role and I went to Japan, and I was just kind of doing some like meditation out in Japan. And then I came back and I told myself, like, I'm not gonna think about this again. I'm not going to be discouraged. I'm going to, because I was so close to just being like, devastated to the point that I couldn't function. And I was like, because I was tired, man. I was like this close every time. Anyway, I'm sure a lot of actors out there are, you understand what I'm talking about when I say that. And then this job came along, and I originally was offered a different character. I don't want to say which one, because I don't want to take away from my boys who did such a great job. And I was like, nah, I don't really think that that's right for me. And then they brought up this idea of playing the new character. And I was like, damn. I'm like, that sounds scary. I'm like, maybe that's more in line with what I need to be doing. And something inside of my gut was like, that's it. Go for that. And I read the scene with my best friend's daughter.
Yep.
She's never acted before, and I had to convince her to be in the audition tape with me, because I wanted the director to see that I can be vulnerable. He knows I can fight. He knows I can do drama. I wanted him to see that I could be vulnerable and grounded. And for me, that was my goal with Cole, is just to be vulnerable and grounded, because he's experiencing this while the audience is experiencing it. And I need to say everything with my eyes. I cut out 30% of my dialogue in this movie, like easily 30%, and just was like, I'm just going to say it with a look. And I feel like that's enough. And you have these big characters, Kung Lao and Scorpion and Sonya and Jax. And I need to not get lost in that mix, but I need to be like the grounding energy there. So that was my goal, man. And when I got the call, I was on my way to race NASCAR in Tennessee. I
want to be you when I grow up. Are you Bruce Wayne?
I'm with my publicist, and I'm like, I'm
going to stop you. In the space of 45 seconds, you're like, had some bad news, went to Japan, did some meditation, felt really good, did some racing at NASCAR, and now started a new character in Mortal Kombat. And
it doesn't sound that bad when I put it like that. Actually,
it ain't bad. Hey, again, try watching Taylor Swift all day and doing Zoom lessons.
Well,
I'll take a meditation.
This is the life I chose,
This is
a wild one. And anyways, I got the call, and I was about to go race the cars, and then I was like, I should probably not race any cars. Can you like tell them that I got to back out? And she was like, why? I was like, I just booked the lead role in Mortal Kombat, and I don't want to like crash a car and then have that be the end of the story.
Yeah. You don't want to go Bobby on the situation.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. And then they're going to be talking about Asian drivers and stereotypes.
That's naughty.
I visualize the headline.
I mean, would be funny. Wouldn't be great, but all you would do, right? All you do is turn to the publicist and say, now you got to earn your money.
Spin this.
Yeah, this is where you earn your money now.
So funny.
Oh, yeah, man. Shit.
What's the are you planning to do stuff with the UFC? because you can't just keep popping up on the Twitter and the ticker and like not have some sort of moving forward collab with them, can you?
Yeah, so we did a live kind of like fight watch for the Masvidal fight, that was a crazy card. Yeah. We're talking about doing something. So yeah, we'll see where it goes, you know, whether it's kind of like, I would like to dive more into fighting and stunts and seeing like, you know, how that kind of plays out and kind of pushing the envelope for a stunt Oscar and kind of like moving. So like educating people on the community, fight community and stunt community. I think
big up.
Yeah. I'd like to do that.
Is there a fight? Is there a like a fight Oscar, or would that fall under stunt as well? Or forgive my ignorance here.
Fight, yeah, but stunts, no.
Fight, yes. Stunt, no.
No, there's no fight Oscar.
Yeah, sorry, Oscar, no. You get the Taurus, which is like the stunt thing. Yeah.
So they gave us our own award. Like, hey, just stay over there. You guys got your own awards, right?
Yeah.
So yes, there's stunt awards, but they're not Oscars. But we need to have an Oscar. I mean, if all the stunt people stopped working today, there'd be no fucking movies. There'd be no action movies. There'd be no blockbusters. It'd be gone. There'd be no Marvel films. There'd be no nothing.
So and respect to Brad Pitt because he played a stuntman and got the Oscar, and he was like, you know, it's a bit fucked up that you can play one and get this, but not the actual stunt guys. So yeah,
that's crazy. Like,
drive it home, bro.
I assumed because some of the Oscars are wild. There's like an Oscar for the best like floor tape guy. Like there's some pretty wild Oscars, isn't there? There's like, you know, the computer game of the soundtrack of the fucking mini disc that gets an Oscar. There's no stunt Oscar.
Yeah. I think that it's one of those things where they had a hard time understanding and what would entail the winning Oscar for a stunt. Like, for instance, you know, in my mind, you get an award when you're breaking the boundaries and you're, you know, everybody in the business goes like, yeah, well, that was the best. That's what we hope the awards, you know, it doesn't always happen like that, but let's just say that that's our desire to hope for. With a stunt Oscar, that's why I want to educate people more about, you know, what it takes to be a stunt man and what goes into it. And they are top level athletes. They're, you know, I would even say like some of them are like Olympic level style athletes like that are risking their lives and performing these crazy things just so, you know, these Marvel films can make $1 billion. And like, they don't get any real recognition in many ways. Even on set, sometimes it feels like, oh, it's just stunts over there. It's like, well, no, not really. Like, these are the guys that are making the movie. in a lot of ways, these are the guys that are making the movie good. And without them, you know, you're not going to get the quality that you know, all these big blockbusters have. And so
shout out, brother, shout out.
Yeah, like I mean, because it's a dangerous one, isn't it? Because like if you want to get the modern era noise, like for you would be an ideal person to have a podcast, whatever the video version of a podcast is now. Someone told me what it was called, I've forgotten. A YouTube channel, whatever, where you could go into stunts, but then you're always going to get some absolute group of fools trying to recreate something that you're showing, and then it's a dangerous mix. You end up with like a much more dangerous jackass, but your intention is very pure and for the industry. I don't know if it's a hard one to get it over the line, isn't it?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, you can't control that. You just gotta, you gotta just go for it. And, you know,
big disclaimer.
My goal would be to educate people and show them what it takes. Go on a set and see what it takes to make these Marvel movies, and see what it takes to make movies like Mortal Kombat, like what some of these stunt guys had to go through. And, you know, kind of like once you understand what goes into it, I think that you realize that they're a much higher level artistry and performing than it is than saying like, just kick that guy in the head, he's a stunt guy.
Yeah,
you know, like that mentality is like from the John Wayne era. That's like, you know what I mean? That's not what we do now. Like what they do, and my father does, is, you know, a much higher level of performing and artistry. So
I mean, like the guys that do the vehicle stuff, like everyone's seen like the outtakes of Bad Boys 2 and stuff like that. Some of that stuff is like to the half-inch precision at 130 miles an hour in a car that they shouldn't really be damaging, and they nail it. And you're like, that's pretty spectacular, guy. Yeah, congratulations.
And that's years and years of
Yep.
of preparation for something. You know what I mean? Years and years. So I think it'll happen. It'll happen soon enough. If not, we'll just all go on strike, and then we'll see what happens next. We'll see what happens after we all go on strike. And that's the thing. The stunt community, most of them are such a humble group of people that they wouldn't even be on board with that. They'd be like, it's all good. You don't need to mention me.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably part of the problem as well, right? Everyone chose to be behind the scenes. Who cares? It
is. And I check people on set that, I've checked actors on set too, when they talk about stunt guys like that. And they're like, oh yeah, well, I'll just hit him. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. Like, you don't understand. Like, this person's here to make you look good. They're not a punching bag. And they're not, disposable. Like, just, hurt him and he'll be all right. He's a stunt guy. No, man, the guy he has kids and he's a high level performer. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've checked a few people on set before with, just the way that they talk about stunt community and stuff. But it's also like, I grew up around those guys, this family.
See, now, as Streets and I have grown into this podcast, a lot of people on my side of the fence have asked, am I going to be following suit? And it's like, well, obviously I'm 100% no. Number one, I can't be in the background. Number two, I do not follow instructions well at all. And number three, what you've just said there, if I'm in a scene, as it were, and the star just decides to, crack me a little bit out of line, I don't care enough. We have a problem there. I can't. That's gonna ruin your day when that happens.
Oh yeah,
Ian.
That's happened, man. Even it's happened to me. I've had stories when that's happened to me when I was just doing stunts when I was younger. There was a few movies that I just did stunts on, but I know of a few stories. My dad told me a crazy one when he was working on a movie called We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson, and like some dude. I actually forget what actor it was, or else I just say it, but I forget who it was. It wasn't Mel Gibson. There was an actor there was all these guys on the floor. So there was these mines that would explode and they're set in a certain place. You got to memorize where they are. You got to run through a field. The bombs go off. You got to make sure that they don't blow your legs off. And then you got to lie on the floor and pretend you're dead, right? So that's what's happening. So they call action and these stunt guys do it. And then one of the actors was taking a gun with a what's it called, that pointy thing on the end,
bayonet.
A bayonet. Taking a bayonet, and it's a fake. It's a wooden gun with a fake bayonet, but the bayonet's like made of rubber and steel. It was like steel really hard. Yeah. And he just decides he's gonna improv stabbing people on the floor, and so he stabbed this stunt dude and really hurt him. Like it fucked him up bad. And the guy got up and just went off. And, they got into like this fight and this scuffle. And I was like, dude, I would have done the same thing. Yeah. That's like, you're not improving. How is that improving? You know what I mean? It's just like, and that's the mentality. It's like, I'm in the moment, man. I'm in the moment. I'm in the moment. I just hit this guy for real. I'm like, are you fucking, if you did that to me, dude, it's game over, bro. I don't care. We're fighting.
How does that not come out more? Like, because we've all seen, I mean, let's go back to the Christian Bale classic insanity in Terminator. Right, if you're that dude with the light, you would either just look over and just go, why don't you fuck off?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like, I hold a light. Like, I'm not bothered. Mate, I'll drop it on you.
He went pretty hard on that dude.
Right, but like, what I mean is like, I understand that the star, I understand, the world revolves around them in some, but also you are still kind of just a guy doing your job. You wouldn't get that in an office. If some dude started screaming at you, you'd be like, mate, I'm gonna put this keyboard
I
around
mean,
your
look, that's true. You know, the stunt thing is different because it's more like physical, like you're physically hurting someone. The Christian Bale thing, although I think it's wrong, like how he handled that, I do understand to some level the snap, because sometimes you get hyped and your heart rate is like bumping out of your chest and you're about to do a scene, and then something happens, like for instance, someone would be like, oh, Lewis, like do you want a bottle of water? I'm like, no, I'm you know, like, but it's not like, no, I'm trying to be rude. It's just like, I'm in a zone right now, and I'm in a go zone. When they call action, it's about to be on, but I'm not going to physically do anything that's out there, you know, like I understand that feeling. And then later on, I'll be like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to yell. I was just like somewhere else. It sounds very like, you know, pompous actor of me to say this.
No, but it's so true. You're in like literally the definition of another world. Because
Christian went, he did, you know, he took it up a couple levels. I think he could have ended it in like the first minute, and I think it went on for like 10 minutes. And he was proper mad.
Who of the Hollywood action heroes would you say is in the baddest list? Like, a lot of people talk about Jai White, and I don't doubt that whatsoever. Obviously,
like guys that can scrap.
Guys that you would comfortably. Obviously, we know Steven Seagal is number one on that list, but so we don't count him. He's off. He's on a different thing, right? So who's your list?
That's a good question. Yeah, guys that could fight. Well, I guess I got to put my boys from Mortal Kombat on that list now for sure. I mean, Joe Taslim and Max Huang are up there.
Yeah. Max
Huang is a legit fighter, and he just is beginning his acting career, so maybe that one's a little cheap. Joe Taslim is a real judo dude who's like as strong as a bull. I mean, that guy's no joke.
Yeah, you don't want judo.
But guys. I don't know about competitive striking and stuff. I don't know how Joe is as far as striking is concerned. I know if he grabs you, you're gonna get dumped on your head 100%. He could dump a legitimate UFC fighter on his head for sure.
Yeah,
he's an Olympic judo guy. I don't know, man. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Michael Jai White can fight. He's got some really amazing kicks. I don't know. That's a tough one, man. Who do you think, Ian? Do you know anyone?
Well, there's this whole cheat level now, right? Because there's been this whole opening up. Bisping's in the mix now with GSP, right. So I'm going with them.
Yeah, that doesn't count. But yeah, Bisping, obviously. Guys that can act and fight. Yeah, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of like real legit. I guess Frank Grillo's got some hands.
Yeah.
I'd fight Frank.
Yeah, Frank Grillo's got some hands.
I'd fight him. I've got no problem with it. He's a lot bigger than me. I've got no problem with it. I don't think. Listen, my friend Mike, shout out to Mike, is obsessed with Frank Grillo.
Oh, really?
Like, unhealthily.
Rob loves a call out. He's like, I'll call him out.
You know, it would be interesting to do like a thing where, you know, I know actors wouldn't do it.
No.
It would be cool. It would be cool to do like a. Do you remember that celebrity deathmatch show? Like
I do.
But like just sparring.
Yeah.
Sparring with
just do 16s and headgear.
Yeah, headgear.
It's like because there was that little thing, wasn't there? People were banging on about Chris Hemsworth, about how good it. Then you saw him on the pads. You're like, I don't want to be a dick, but like, it's not all that. You know.
Well, I don't. Yeah, and I don't think Chris is like going out there saying that he could scrap.
No, he's not the one saying it. Others are saying about him, and you just like,
well, dude. I saw him on the mitts. First off, that dude is huge.
Giant.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
And he looked like he could throw some hands. But my question is, how long does that last? And number two, what is it like when someone's throwing punches back? Because this is the X factor that people, dude. I see people on the pads go crazy. And I'm like, damn, he can hit pad. What is it like when pads don't hit back, right? As Bruce Lee would say, right? Those pads don't hit back. So what is it like when you get punches thrown at you? That's different. That's a whole nother, it's a whole nother X factor that goes into this process here, right?
I'd like to think that all throughout all of these years that someone like a Johnny Depp is a bad motherfucker and he's just kept it super quiet. Like literally just like the grandest master of a capoeira or something. And he's just
like Steve Urkel can just whip major ass.
I heard that Robert Downey Jr. does Wing Chun.
Yeah,
and he's
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I heard that he's been studying it for a long time. Like he's a legit Wing Chun dude.
Well, I love that Ed O'Neill, Married with Children, and he's proper high level BJJ.
Oh, really?
He's a black belt.
Done it for years.
He's a henna and Huron black belt.
Yep.
Whoa!
I was like, love that. Yeah.
So that's different, Imagine
and Nick
like,
Cage. Nick Cage is a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
Is it?
Nick Cage is another BJJ black belt. He's been a BJJ black belt, which is even better because he's all the crazy.
Jiu-jitsu is good for he is. Jiu-jitsu is good for actors because you don't have to take too much wear and tear on the face, and you could learn, and you could actually spar like every day, and you're gonna get choked out, but you tap.
You're not gonna go the Mickey Rourke route.
No. But I think Mickey could probably throw some. I think Mickey could.
Mickey can still.
But then it started showing on the face, is what I'm saying. Like,
I got a funny Mickey Rourke story actually. I was at years ago. I was at a nightclub on Sunset and Crescent Heights. I forgot the name of it, but it was like at the time it was like the cool spot. And I was in this like VIP area with Mickey Rourke, and I was probably I don't even know. I was probably like 21, and Mickey Rourke. I see him. He just done. What was it? I think he might have just done The Wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
I could be getting this wrong, but he just did it. Or was it? He just did a movie, and I saw the movie.
Was it the Bounty Hunter one with Keira Knightley?
No, it wasn't that one. I think it was The Wrestler.
Yeah.
And anyway,
great movie.
I think it was he got nominated for an Oscar for, or there was talks about him getting an Oscar, because my conversation with him was, I went to the bar. He was sitting in the bar, and I was like, "Mickey, what's up?" And he just looked over at me, and I was like, "You should have got the Oscar." And he was like, "Oh, fuck it." No. He was like mumbled some shit about fuck the Oscars or something. He was saying something crazy, and then he turns around, and this girl's there, and she's talking to him, and he's looking at me. He looked like he had a couple drinks, and he saw this girl, and she was saying something about him and his hair or whatever, and he just grabs her and picks her up over his head and just pushes her up like this. And he's just in the bar holding this girl like above his head. And I'm looking at him like, is he gonna throw this girl across the bar? Like, I don't know what he's doing. And he just held her up like this. And then he like set her down. And I was like, yeah, all right, well, I met Mickey.
I'll see you later.
Listen,
good talking to you.
That is conflict resolution of the highest. It's a great story for you. It's an amazing story for her. And fuck that that didn't happen like 3, 4, 5 years ago, because Mickey would have had all of the Me Too charges.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she was fine. He put her down and she was smiling and laughing about it. But I think, oh my God, if it was nowadays, he would have been on Instagram. He would have been on TikTok.
He'd be 25 different hashtags.
He would have been on TMZ. He would have been literally, there would have been like pictures of him and Pal Pot together as the same guy. He would have been retrospectively cancelled forever.
But also, he's Mickey Rourke. You don't give a fuck. He's Mickey Rourke. So.
Listen, he went to
There's
Russia.
Some guys that don't give a fuck, and they just...
Went to Russia, imported a homeless dude to beat up in the ring, and just was like, "Yeah, I'm still undefeated in Russia. Of course you are." Powerful man.
Oh shit!
Right,
good actor though.
Lou, it's 2 a.m. here, my friend.
Okay, man.
I appreciate this so much, and Streets. I haven't seen him smile like this for a long time.
Dude, it was an honor. We were trying to get this done for a minute, so I'm grateful, man. I appreciate it, and Thank what?
Thank you so much.
Just on the anniversary of Mortal Kombat dropping in the UK.
Yes.
So it's only fair that I talk to you two lads about it, on the day that it drops. So I appreciate you guys having me on the podcast.
Brother, thank you so much for
joining us, mate. An absolute honor. Thank you so much. Congratulations on the film. Looking so forward to seeing next steps, next everything.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to hitting some mitts with you, bro. When we,
you know it, brother. You know it. Cannot wait, bro. Guys, make sure, watch everything. This guy is the shit. Thank you so much, brother. Awesome to have
Thank you,
you.
everyone. I appreciate it, man.
Take care.